Building 4 of the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force in Dayton, Ohio. This shows about how the GPS system works, global positioning satellites. Now, this museum is free. It's the oldest and largest military aviation museum in the world. 19 acres under roof, 350 vehicles and aircraft on display. This is a Mercury capsule. And the Mercury spacesuit. We'll come around, you'll see a Gemini capsule, which was the next progression that carried 2 astronauts versus 1 in the Mercury. And then this is the Apollo 15 command module, which was the only lunar mission that had an all-Air Force crew. These are various experimental lifting bodies. The XB-70 Valkyrie, one of 2 built, a Mach 3 bomber. And then we have the North American X-15, which was the fastest aircraft. Speeds of 4,000 miles per hour, 50 miles high. The rockets burned for about 80 to 120 seconds, and then the rest of the flight was all unpowered gliding. We'll come around back here and show the aft end so that you can see the rocket motors. I'm at the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. So here's the rocket motor. It's dark, I know, of the X-15. Those are fuel vents on the side. This is the Douglas X-3 Stiletto, which was built to be a high-speed supersonic plane. Only one of these were built, and it really never lived up to expectations. We're beneath the wing of the XB-70 Valkyrie, which was built by North American. This had 6 General Electric turbojet engines. We'll come around here, show the landing gear. This is the X-1B. This is parked under the Valkyrie, so you can get an idea of the size. Here's the port main gear. One of the engines out of the Valkyrie. It had 6 of these. And here you can see 2, 4, 6 of those engines in a bay, and it had a divergent intake up in the front. This is a Snark unmanned. Then we have the XF-92A. We have in the corner here the Goblin Parasite fighter. Which was built for the B-36 Peacemaker, was designed to be carried fully in the bomb bay. And in the event that it needed protection, they would release it. It had about 15 minutes worth of combat fuel on board, had a cannon. And then the wings would fold up, and it was theoretically would hook on that trapeze and be recovered and take it back up into the bomb bay. This is the Fisher Eagle coming up on my right. Pretty airplane, but it never really worked out. Contra-rotating propellers. We have a Air Cobra, which was really the first American operational jet. P-59, Air Comet. And then over here, this is the Thunder Screech, the XF-84 Thunder Screech. This was the loudest airplane ever built. It was so loud that it would actually make the ground crews sick because the propellers moved at supersonic speed. It at one point did have contra-rotating propellers, then they went to a single. This is the Avro Aerocar, which was built in Canada. Canada didn't want to have anything to do with it, so he talked the U.S. Army into, or the U.S. Air Force into experimenting with it. It was a ground effect vehicle supposed to fly at altitude, and it never really was able to get out of ground effect. This is the Northrop Tasset Blue, which was an experimental lifting body. This is the YF-12, which was the interceptor version of the SR-71 Blackbird. XV-3, which was a tilt rotor by Bell, kind of a predecessor to the Osprey. Looking up, we got various vehicles and helicopters and rocket-tipped rotors and everything up here. Over here is the YF-23, which was the competitor by Northrop to the Lockheed F-22 Raptor. The Raptor, of course, was chosen, even though they say that the 23 was the better aircraft. But I think the Air Force didn't think that Northrop would be able to keep up with the production, where Lockheed already had the production in place. So that pretty much takes you all the way around the gallery. So I hope everybody's enjoyed that, and feel free to share on the replays. If you're ever in Dayton, Ohio, do come to the museum. Yep, the X-29 was up there. I'll kind of go around and point up and do some of the other vehicles that are hanging from the overhead here, so you can see those as well. Various unmanned UAVs and target drones and such as that. Try to get a better grip on my tablet here. There we go. Sorry for the shakiness. XQ-58, which is a current UAV that's in development. Another Valkyrie. We have the P-80R reconnaissance version Shooting Star. This C-18 packet was a troop carrier. And over here, this one was actually used to recover reconnaissance pods from satellites. They would drop them and it would snag the parachute to recover the pods and bring the film in for developing. Hi everybody, thank you for joining. Tap the like for me and share, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do, or at least follow me. I do have different content, things like this, music videos, cooking videos, all kinds of things. So I'm going to come around so you can see the actual recovery apparatus that they use to snag the parachutes. This was the Fairchild known as the Flying Boxcar, C-119. It was a satellite catcher. So here you can see those arms would actually deploy out and snag the lines on the parachutes to recover satellites and film pods. Now we're at the aft end of the mock-up that they built for the crew compartment trainer. That's the actual size of the rocket nozzle engines on the space shuttle. And here we have people coming down the starboard wing. They go up the port wing. We're on the port side of the Hanoi taxi. And here you can see one of the engines off of the C-141 as compared to the C-5 engine on the other side that we pointed out earlier. I've not been to Udvar-Hazy. I've been to the mall, but I've not been to DC since Udvar-Hazy opened. I'd love to go, but I don't know if I really feel safe or comfortable going to DC as a disabled vet. But I have seen it virtually. Oh, you're very welcome. And I hope you're enjoying this. Again, I apologize for the shakiness. So, is there a particular aircraft you want to see? Like I say, we have Franklin Roosevelt's aircraft called Sacred Cow, which was the first aircraft built specifically to be a presidential aircraft. Now, he had polio and was not able to climb the stairs, so it had a battery-powered elevator that they would put him in his wheelchair and lift him up into the aircraft. I'll actually go around and show that elevator. So we're traveling around the wall here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, everybody here watching, and I hope you're enjoying it. And if you're liking this, tap the like. Go to my channel and follow me. Would love to have you on there. And this all started with a video on a toy that is at almost 697,000 views, so blows my mind. This is the Sacred Cow, which was a VC-54 that we're coming up under. That was the Douglas DC-6. And they put a tail prop underneath there, and that just prevents a tricycle gear, and we still use those today on aircraft to keep the tail from dropping if you get too much weight behind the center of gravity. So in here you can see the elevator that was battery powered, and this is a replica of FDR's wheelchair. So he would get in the wheelchair, they would push him so they would actually push him into that, and it would take him up into the aircraft instead of him having to climb the stairs. And all of these presidential aircraft, you can actually go up inside and walk through them. You can also go to the Cockpit 360 app and see inside them virtually. We're coming back around here. Yeah. Okay.
Tight squeeze.
Yeah, folks. When you come out the backside there. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even know the
Yeah.
backside was open.
Yeah. This is your entrance. That's your exit back there. So.
You
Sounds
see it.
good.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, all the aircraft you go through one direction and exit out the other end. Little interesting tidbit here on my left. When President Truman signed the bill creating the Air Force at the end of the U.S. Army Air Corps, this is the actual ink pen that he used to sign the act that created the Air Force. Again, Squatch, this is at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. It's the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force. This is the Independence, which was Harry Truman's aircraft. Interesting fact, the Sacred Cow and the Independence never carried the call sign of Air Force One. The call sign, first of all, didn't exist when FDR was president. The Air Force didn't. And it wasn't needed when Truman was president. But the Columbine 3, which is over here ahead of me, which was a Lockheed Super Constellation, there was a civilian aircraft with a similar call sign when Eisenhower was on board, and they nearly had an incident, and that is when they came up with the call sign for Air Force One, which every Air Force presidential aircraft after that has used. When the president is on board, that is Air Force One. Doesn't matter if it's a jet, even these smaller executive jets. If the president is on any Air Force aircraft, that aircraft carries the call sign Air Force One. If it's a Marine aircraft, it's Marine One. Navy aircraft, Navy one. Even that little Cessna hanging from the ceiling there, that could have been Air Force One at the time, and it was. LBJ would fly to his ranches on that. And again, we're back at SAM 26000, which was the one that President Kennedy, his body was flown back to Washington on after his assassination. Jackie would not let him put the casket in the cargo hold, so they had to remove seats and cut out part of the back wall to get the casket up into the passenger cabin. So I come over here from Pataskala, Ohio, about an hour-and-a-half drive once a month to volunteer as a docent. And as a Navy transient line mechanic, I was qualified on 80 different types of aircraft, so I worked on about 30% of the types that are in this museum. These are hands-on things that you can actually do at SAM 26000, and it shows things that they would do like polishing. This has little rags they can actually clean like they would do. This is a chance to connect the wires up to get your master caution light. Again, things the crew chief would do. This is how you would check the oil on the engine on the 707 or the VC-25. Check the tire pressure. You can actually do it. Here is a Lego that somebody built of Air Force One and Marine One. These are actual uniforms that were worn. This is a serving cart that was used on Air Force One. The stewards' uniforms that they would use, the flight attendants. Your air crew, ground crew uniforms. These are actual items that were on Air Force One during different presidents' terms. This is a cigar box and cigar from the Kennedy administration on SAM 26000. When Carter was president in '79, he flew to South Korea on SAM 27000, the sister aircraft of this one. These are a cigarette pack and matches, stationary from when Truman flew the Sacred Cow before the Independence was built. Matches and cigarette lighter from the Johnson administration. This also, by the way, was the plane that Johnson took the oath of office in. And playing cards and Jim Rummy score sheet, soup bowl, plate and napkin, place settings. So these are all items that were used on the various Air Force Ones under different administrations. This is the lunch menu from the Trump administration. Press reference, playing cards from the Obamas. President Reagan's seatbelt. Embroidered napkin under Truman on the Independence. Dinner plate that was used Johnson to Nixon. Dinner invitation and paperweight when Nixon flew to China on SAM 26000. Ford's visit to West Germany. A perfume atomizer that Lady Bird Johnson used. So lots and lots and lots of history in this museum. What do you think? Are you enjoying what I'm doing? Do you like what I'm doing? If so, let me know. So, well, I'm going to end the live here because I have to go back on the desk. So I hope you all have enjoyed that. And we will try to do more of these. So thank you so much for watching. Like and share. And have a great, great rest of your day.